What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope you're all doing well. Start with some big news. Ben Johnson is staying with the Detroit Lions. Lions offensive coordinator has informed the two remaining teams that were going after him, two remaining teams with head coach openings, the Seattle Seahawks and the Washington Commanders, who, of course, it's been widely expected he was going to join as the next head coach, that he will be staying with the Detroit Lions. This is a big surprise. He's the top head coach candidate on the market. Not sure why exactly he decided to go back. I know there was a lot of rumors that he was pretty much almost a done deal to Washington. Boomer Esiason announced on Boomer and Geo said when he's hearing it was basically a done deal. We announced that about a week ago. And then over the last few days, they gave Mike McDonald a second interview, and then all of a sudden, Ben Johnson has dropped out. And of course, he was a candidate in Seattle as well. So not exactly sure why. Maybe he wants to try and see if he can win a Super Bowl next year with the Detroit Lions. I know late in the regular season, I know a report came out that he wanted $15 million a year to be a head coach. And to me, that's a lot. That's a lot for a first-time head coach. I got like Jim Harbaugh, who's a proven Super Bowl head coach. He obviously wins the national championship at University of Michigan. He's got the highest winning percentage of any active head coach right now. Actually, of course, he only coached it for the 49ers for 4 years before taking the Michigan job in like 2014, whenever it was. Like that's a guy I'll get $15 million. I'm sure he got it. I think he got about that. But a guy like Ben Johnson, who I think will be a great head coach. He's only 37 years old. He's got obviously playing left from the tank. I think will be a great head coach. He's a very smart guy, great play caller. If he brings that like old grit style, with him from Detroit to wherever he goes, I think he'll be a great head coach, no doubt. But for a guy who, at the end of the day, has never done it before, 50 million years a lot, so I'm not sure if that was a hurdle. So, not sure exactly what happened, but he will be going back to the Detroit Lions. And the Houston Texans also got a couple of assistants back that they thought they were going to lose. Bobby Slowick for offensive coordinator, who is a hot head coach candidate, did a really good job as the offensive coordinator in Houston this year. He has announced that he's going to return to Houston as the offensive coordinator for another year. Now, I know he did a bunch of interviews. And I think he was connected to Tennessee at one point. That's a spot I thought he fit nicely. Of course, they ended up going with Brian Callahan, the offensive coordinator from the Bengals. So he returns to Houston, as does Gerard Johnson, the Texans quarterbacks coach, who was a hot offensive coordinator candidate. And he interviewed with Pittsburgh, and they ended up going with Arthur Smith, the former Falcons head coach. Of course, he was the OC in Tennessee before he got the Atlanta head coach job, and now he's OC in Pittsburgh. I think a couple other places he was looked at him, like he's going back to Houston as the quarterbacks coach. And so obviously Ben Johnson going back to Detroit. He's big for Detroit. I thought it's also big for Houston. D'Amico Ryan is, he's a phenomenal coach, but he's not an offensive guy, and he keeps, a really good young offensive coordinator, and then who was one of the best in the business, and will be a head coach in the next year or two for sure. And he keeps his quarterback coach and Gerard Johnson, who's going to be probably an offensive coordinator in a year, and maybe a head coach in a couple years down the line. So that's big for both those teams. A couple of assistant coaches that stay with their respective teams. The NFL is investigating Kayshon Boutte, New England Patriots receiver, was a 7th-round pick last year for illegal underage gambling. So a report came out within the last week or so that Boutte, while he was playing at LSU, remember he was drafted in the 7th round this past season by the Patriots, that he plays 8,900 bets. Wow. Dude plays 8,900 bets while at LSU. That's crazy. Almost 9,000 bets. That is wild. He was just arrested, and he was charged, so the NFL is investigating him. Considering the NFL can't really... obviously, if you get busted for betting on games in the NFL, you're suspended at least a year. If not, forever. You've seen, obviously, Calvin Ridley bet on his team to win. Even though he was betting on his team to win legally, and he wasn't even with the team because he was going through something. They gave him a year. James Williams was betting on another sport at a team facility. He got 6 games. So, but this happened when he was in college. They probably can't do anything about that. But if he, they can, bang him because he got in trouble with the law. He was officially arrested and charged. They can do something about that. And I have a feeling that they are going to. And his career might be over, at least in New England. I mean, if Bill Belichick was still there, he would probably already been cut. Now with Jerome Mayo, I don't know, but Jerome Mayo also played under Bill for a long time, and he coached under Bill for 4 years. And he's, kind of run some of the same things, like, he's not gonna, apparently this is what he says, he's not gonna try and be Bill, he's actually gonna give assistant coaches titles. He's not gonna use the do your job thing, but he's gonna say hard work. So kind of the same thing, just kind of rebranded in a way. So, but Butte is under investigation. Tom Brady this next season is apparently he's going to replace Greg Olson as the lead analyst for Fox as the color to Kevin Burkhardt, and Greg Olson will drop down to the second team with Joe Davis. This doesn't sit well with me at all. I don't care what you think about Tom Brady. Obviously, what does a player, it doesn't matter. In this instance, he deserved a $375 million contract that Fox gave him last year. To be an announcer. You think he'll be good at this? You think he won't be good at this? You think whatever you think of Greg Olson, you think him and Burkhardt are good together. You don't like him. You don't like Olson. You like Olson. To me, this really isn't fair. Olson to me has done a very good job as the color guy for Kevin Burkhardt. Those two are very good together. Greg Olson, I think, is very good considering he's only been doing this a couple of years. Why are we demoting him? Why is he getting demoted? Not because he's, not good, that he hasn't been, recepted well, which he has. Because, it's Tom Brady. Honestly, I'm not confident Tom Brady's going to be good at this. He doesn't have, he's like kind of funny. He's kind of comedic on like social media, but in real life, his personality is just kind of bland. I mean, obviously he knows the game. A lot of these ex-quarterbacks, they make really good analysts. You look at Tony Romo, who although I think is an overrated announcer, or he's very annoying. He is, or as an analyst, I think is really good. I really think they should put him like in the studio because he's a phenomenal analyst. He just isn't a great announcer. He's just so annoying. So like again, and I feel like Brady should start like in the studio. Like he can make a really good analyst. Maybe you have him join Rob Gronkowski on that desk with Fox. I don't know. If you can fit him in there, move somebody around maybe. But to have him be, on the number one broadcast team for Fox, Kevin Burkhardt, who's doing this a long time. He was the Mets sideline guy at one point. He got a big deal to be, broadcast NFL games a while back from Fox. The last few years he's been the top play-by-play guy for Fox. He was the play-by-play for the Super Bowl last year, I believe, or maybe the year prior. Maybe the year prior. But that doesn't make any sense to me. If I'm saying screw you, I'm done. I'm going to a different network. I mean, if the CBS didn't pay Tony Romo $10-12 million a year for the next decade, I'm sure it would have been doable for him to join Jim Nance's car and then bump Tony Romo to the studio, but that's just not going to happen. All right, let's look at the NBA scores from last night. Knicks picked up a win. Didn't have Julius Randle. Didn't look at that OG Anunoby either, but they picked up a win over the Utah Jazz, 118-103. Donovan DiVincenzo had a big game, 33 points and 9 threes. Jalen Brunson, 29 points and 9 assists. Josh Hart had 10-10-10. So, triple-double, but 10-10-10 in that one. So, Knicks, they are rolling. They've won 8 games in a row. They have won 14 of 16 games in the month of January since acquiring OG Anunoby from Toronto Raptors. And, obviously, I have Joey's ran the last couple games. He's out for the next few weeks with a shoulder injury. Haven't had OG Anunoby the last 2 games. They're still going, yes. Those 2 games were against Charlotte, who's a bottom 5 team in the league, and Utah, who's came in 500, tied with the Lakers for the last 2 play-in spots in the West. But still, very happy with the Knicks are playing. Hawks beat the Lakers 138-122. Trey had 26 points and 13 assists. That Lakers team is not good. It's weird. It's funny because the Lakers and Hawks have been trade talks for weeks about Deontay Murray, and the Lakers are, offered the packages D'Lo, Jimmy Hood-Schifino, who's one of their second-round rookies this year for second-round pick. I forgot where they selected them, and some draft capital. So those 2 teams just play each other. Yeah, the Celtics over the Patriots 129-124. They're 37-7 for Jason Tatum. They continue to roll. You have the Raptors over the Bulls, 118-107. DeRozan 25 for the Bulls. Bruce Brown had 19 and 7 and a few steals for the Toronto Raptors. He can be getting traded. And the Golden State Warriors beat the Sixers 119-107. 37 points, 8 boards, 7 assists. I think 8 threes for Curry, showing he's still one of the best players in the league. So we had some injuries. Joel Embiid came, he was questionable going in, was able to play, but then came out, I think, in the third quarter for knee injury, did not return to the game. Tyrese Maxey didn't play the entire game. Dwight Howard 26 and 10 in the loss, so a short of 6 team loses to the Golden State Warriors. Boy, Embiid can only miss 5 or 6 more games, or he won't be able to win the MVP award, and he right now, to me, is the odds-on MVP in the NBA. Look, if I'm picking a center to start my team with, I'm going with Nikola Jokic. He's an overall better player, but right now, Embiid, I think, is the most valuable player in the league. If the season were to end today. The NBA announced the Rising Stars Challenge rosters in the NBA. It's the NBA guys. It's who only played 2 years or less in the NBA, and now they include the G League. The second-year players in the NBA are Paul Banchero from Orlando. You have Dyson Daniels from New Orleans, Jalen Duren from Detroit, Jay Knight from Detroit, Walker Kessler from Utah, Benedict Mulford from Indiana, Keegan Murray from Sacramento, Shane Sharp from Portland, Jabari Smith from Houston, and Jalen Williams from the Oklahoma City Thunder. The rookies that made it for the NBA were Bilal Coulibaly for Washington, Keontae George for Utah, Jordan Hawkins from New Orleans, Scoop Harrison from Portland, Chet Holmgren from Oklahoma City, Jaime Jaquez Jr. from Miami, Derek Lively from Dallas, Brandon Miller from Charlotte, of course, Victor Wembanyama, Casey Wallace from Oklahoma City, and then that guy, I don't know pronounce his name, Pokasevsky, whatever his name is, Brondine Podzemski from Golden State. The G League guys don't really know who a lot of these guys are. You have this guy, Izan Almasa, I think his name is, and you have Matas Bulzies or something. You have Ron Holland. Mac McClung did make it. The guy who won the dunk contest, I think it was last year. I heard he's going to have an opportunity to defend that if he wants. You have Tyler Smith. You have Oscar Tshiebwe's in it. Tshiebwe was a standout at Duke. Was like a late second-round pick or undrafted guy. I think he's maybe in Indiana, maybe, their G League affiliate. And then you have Alondas Williams. Don't know where most of those guys are. Not sure if they even include the G League, but those are the Rising Stars players for this year's Rising Stars Challenge in the NBA. All-Star break is coming up. I think the trade deadline is in like over a week. I got to check that. I'll check that for tomorrow. It's a little hockey though. NHL scores from last night. NHL is moving along. We're inching closer to the All-Star break for the NHL. Yeah, Columbus beat the Blues 1-0. Elvis Merzlikins 21 save shutout. And then the Sharks beat the Kraken 2-0. Those are the only 2 games. Shout out to the Sharks for actually winning a hockey game. It's not something that they do. Normally, that team is very bad. Like, really, really bad. Not too much else, though. Kind of a short show today. We have some... I'm not going to go too deep on this because it's some sensitive information. Carter Hart, the goalie for the Flyers. New Jersey Devils winger Michael McLeod, a forward from the Calgary Flames, Dylan Dubé, and defenseman from the Colorado Avalanche, Cathal Rutschy, all kinds of sexual assault. From obviously the whole scam with the 2018 Canadian World Juniors team, there was 5 players that were called out. There was one that was called out from Ottawa. The original lawsuit came out, I think in the springtime, the April or May of 2022. So this is actually going back that year, a little over a year now, about a year and a half. Now these 4 NHL players were just called out, and they were all given a leave of absence by their respective teams in the last week and a half, 2 weeks or so. And now this is being brought to light. Very unfortunate and sensitive stuff. I want to go too deep into it so everyone has all the details. But that was announced last night. They were officially charged, all those players. The Angelos family has finally sold the Baltimore Orioles. Finally. You had, the main one of them has been very ill, and now the family's been fighting over control for the team for years, and finally they sold it. Sold to David Rubenstein and Mike Arrighetti for $1.7 billion. Rubenstein is worth $3.7 billion, and Arrighetti is worth $1.8 billion. So they will take over the team. I think it's a really good move for the Orioles. And they've been kind of, the Angels family has not done a good job with that team. They've been stuck in poverty for so long. They've only made 6 playoff berths since like whatever year they took over, or since 2000 or something. And although of course one of them came this past year, but they're very cheap. Even though they're coming off being the best team in the American League, and then they lost in the division series to Texas. They still right now have the second lowest payroll in the league besides Oakland, who's obviously not even trying, and they're moving the team to Vegas currently. So they give to different ownership, 2 guys with who's got some more money to spend and might care a little more. So that's a good sign for the Baltimore Orioles. Last thing I will leave with you with, the San Diego Padres have signed Randy Peralta, 4 years, $16.5 million. He's had 3 straight really good years with the Yankees. 3 straight years. He's had a sub-3 for the Yankees. A very good left-handed reliever. He joins the San Diego Padres. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long and have a great day.